Hello, everybody. I'll be talking about continuous delivery using crowdsourced testing. Testing is often viewed still as a barrier to implementing continuous delivery and having real DevOps, but that shouldn't be the case. Here, when we have a look at the continuous deployment pipeline, we see that there is almost everything about automation. Still, after all those automated tests passed, when you almost have your artifact, you still have to do some manual checks. And those are mostly exploratory and usability tests. So you have to run all those automated and manual tests continuously. And for that, it is always very important to have your manual testers, automation testers, and developers really working in sync. Again, this time when you have to run all those manual checks have to be speed up. And for that, we had a very good experience using a crowdsourced testing company. There, you actually involve the whole crowd, all your test users or all different users to test in a very short period of time. You get a fast feedback. You don't have confirmation biases, and again, you know that your end users don't really live in the test labs, but in the whole world. You are also able to get the full coverage for different devices, different browsers, different operation systems, and again, you can scale those resources in a very short period of time. Exactly for those reasons, we decided almost more than a year ago to switch to that strategy, because more than a year ago we had only one tester who wasn't able to do those checks all the time. So it's actually very simple. You prepare your product or your software to test, you run the cycle, and you analyze the results. Still, it's not so simple because we had a lot of challenges. Some of the results were not so good. For example, lots of findings were not so valuable for us. Developers were rejecting lots of bugs. They were distrusting this whole process, and the communication was taking lots of time. For this approach, to solve all those problems, again, you have to know where to start. You have to time box your time, all those communication, all those maintaining time. You really have to stick to these time boxes. And of course, you have to track your improvements all the time. It is always very good to know what your input is. This is a bit too long. Okay. So a good preparation as for everything. You really have to nail your inputs. You have to know what your focus is, what is out of scope for test. You have to know what actually the testers have to know that, because otherwise they will waste their time. So if you have a very good input, you will have a better results and better output. You have to know what your goal is for every testing iteration, what the purpose is, what to test, how to test, and when to test. About when, you can do it daily, you can do it weekly, you can do it every second week. It's just a matter of the contract with that company. So the communication with the testers, it's also very valuable. You have to reward all those good testers to start them so they really feel valuable. Exploratory tests really added lots of value, more than regression, because then you're motivated, then you are creative, then you really find very valuable bugs. You shouldn't think that this crowd testing will solve all your different software development testing QA problems. It won't. You have to it will help, but it won't solve them. You have to test internally as well, especially to smoke test. And almost as a summary, it is very good again for scaling this capacity to meet different demands. It increases the fluidity of workforce. Cost can be really saved. It is like 30 to 40% of budget saved with crowd testing, and it is really, really good for functional end user testing and also for usability testing. It is though not so good for stuff like software like banking, insurance, where is a lot of business knowledge needed. If you have any further question, don't hesitate to contact me. I'll be also here today and tomorrow. Thank you very much.